Hello everybody, welcome back to Dominions 5. We are playing as Late Age Utgard, and this is the YouTuber's Let's Play series. It is turn 32, and we've got a couple diplo messages at the top here. Man is telling me what happened to Midgard's army, but of course we know what happened to it. They attacked us this turn, just like we expected. Miklin, I'm not going to read all of this. He's giving me reasons why he doesn't really agree with me taking that island in the north over there that I wanted to take to guard against Midgard's sailing and raiding. So yeah, we go back and forth about it for a few turns, but he isn't crazy about it. So we tried to assassinate a couple of his commanders with Vengeance of the Dead, but resisted and resisted. Actually, it hit the same guy. It hit the same guy twice because he's the guy who got the most kills, but apparently he had enough magic resist. And we got two sites here. You know what, let's skip this stuff. Let's go right to the battles. So this one, Barony of Air. I think this is just a raid. Yeah, it's just a raid. Man is just taking a little province here. I think this is a raid also. Yep. And here, I believe, is the big battle. Yes, it is. Okay, so last episode I went over my script here and my formation. There's one thing I forgot to mention, which is that so you can see these are my 4 mana batteries. I have one guy here because I wanted to get 2 Winter Ward, like a cold protection buffs off before I did Grip of Winter. So he's scripted to do that and then to become a slave, which takes, whatever, a blood slave. But what I didn't, because he has some encumbrance, because he's old and whatever, it takes 100 fatigue to do the Winter's Ward, the Frost Protection. And I only gave him 1 gem. And so it's going to take him all his fatigue to do it, and then he's just going to be fatigued, and he's never going to get out of fatigue before Rigor Mortis hits, so he never becomes a slave. Now, for most of my guys, getting the extra path from having 4 communion slaves is not crucial. It's just to help with the Skella spam. But especially for the nature caster doing relief, it really helps because I'm only at 1, and even with Power of the Spheres, like, it's tricky. Fortunately, I did have backup. I had one of these Seath Konas become a communion slave just in case I screwed up somewhere, and it certainly helped out. So because of that, I actually do have 4 communion slaves running, and so everybody gets a magic boost of 2, which reduces the fatigue by a lot. So that's just a detail. And then let's see what he's got. So we've got the Skin Shifters, which are pretty nice. They hit hard, and then when they die, which they do a lot because they have low hit points, they become werewolves, which also hit hard and have even more hit points. And also regeneration. Then this is just chaff. This is a pile of crossbows. These are berserker dual wielders, so these are really nasty. Really nasty in general, and also really nasty against giants. They also have nice protection. So these are pretty nice, and they're gonna hurt a lot. And then we have a pile of sacred cavalry back here, a pile of sacred cav back here. And then a whole bunch of air casters. His guys are... I think he's got about 8 or 9 Air 3 or Air 2 that will become Air 3 with some air power casters for Thunder Strikes. And he's also got a couple of Earth Mages, although they're also Air Mages. He's got some Astral stuff going on here. So we'll keep an eye on what he's casting. But mostly this is some decent front line, which is pretty nasty, and then a ton of Thunder Strike spam. So, crossbows. Here are the so let's look at those spells that went off. So my first round, we have anti-magic. My communions are going up. Blessings. My body ethereal went off on my 2 thugs in the front line. This guy over here, and this guy over here. So they're quickening themselves. Do they have quickness? Yeah, they do. So they're pretty badass. They've got 22 defense with the shield. 52 hit points, 20% regeneration because they have the built-in, their own regen plus the one from the Bless. They have resistance to all this damage. Really, really nice thugs. Meanwhile, over here, summon Storm Power. There's some small communion going up and some summon Earth Power, so not... I think there's a Divine Blessing going on here. Oh yeah, what's his Bless, by the way? Just to remind ourselves, I think it's a Rainbow Bless. Yeah, Rainbow Bless. Okay. There's a Storm. So we should be seeing the first couple of Thunder Strikes hitting. Yeah, so Thunder Strike isn't very precise, so you can see a lot of them just completely miss. It can deal up to 30 damage, so it can one-shot one of these giants. They have 32 hit points, but only if it hits right on target, and often they don't. So we can see that the front lines are about to crash into one another, and it'll be a race to see if I can fatigue his casters out before my front line collapses, and also to make sure that it holds out long enough so that the heavy cav, so that his Sacred Cav doesn't get to the back. So that was the first round of Thunder Strikes. Here comes the second round. You can see these are the grip. This is the Grip of Winter. No, Grip of the Dead, whatever it's called. Doesn't seem to be incredible. Maybe I'm just not clicking the right guys. Like 35, 30. It is causing some fatigue on these guys. But it's not that it's these guys are going to die to giants before they get fatigued out. You'd ideally want to fatigue all the guys in the back, but it has a pretty short range. So in hindsight, not, I guess, an amazing spell. Another thing, though, that's important is that you see these giants here are... like, this is actually a great engagement for us. What you don't want as giants is to have edges like here. This guy is taking a ton of hits per turn, which is why he only has 3 hit points. Whereas these guys are dual wielding, right? So you could have just these 3 are doing 6 attacks per turn on him, and then imagine if he was surrounded on a corner, he'd be taking like a ridiculous amount of attacks per turn, which is what's about to happen on this corner over here from these cavalry about to hit. But this is actually a great engagement for me. Now here, I would normally be very scared, except that both my thugs are on this side. So for some reason, the thug that was out here decided to run all the way over here, and he is soloing this whole pack of Sacred Cav. Now it looks scary, but he's got a Vine Shield, so these guys are tangled. They're not doing anything. He's actually doing a great job. And then this guy over here has actually taken on half of these guys as well. So... So yeah, so that's pretty good. So let's see. Here's the second round of Thunder Strikes. And here, and let me just show you guys the fatigue on these guys. So this guy was doing Earth Magic. He is at 71 fatigue. This guy is Air 3. He's probably doing Thunder Strikes. 72 fatigue. 200 fatigue, so he's done. Oh, he cast the Storm, that's why. 165, 160... 46, he might still be casting his. 158, so that's pretty much it. There's like a couple Thunder Strikes left, and then they're all going to be at 100 fatigue. And this guy over here, yeah, 67. So there's like maybe 4 or 5 Thunder Strikes left in this whole fight, and then they're done. Meanwhile, over here, yeah, my guys, I mean, they're at 200 fatigue because they're Communion Slaves. And... he doesn't care, right? Because all the damage now goes in as hit point damage at like a 10-to-1 ratio, and he's got 30% regeneration, because again, oh, this guy has the Shroud, so he has an extra 10%, but this guy, even this guy's at 20%, because one of the Communion Masters did personal regeneration. I've just put up Rigor Mortis, and Howl, Relief will be coming up next turn, so this is the lady who just did Howl. She's fine, she's got 56 fatigue. She's at 25, 51. Like, we are good to go. Here, yeah, this guy's a nice... I don't think I made him a Communion Master. So, yeah. And then in terms of their attack rear cav, we have one guy here who's come around. but I've still got some giants back here, so he's not going to be effective. Because remember, most of his attack rear on this side got eaten up by this dude, who is tanking them like a boss. Now on this side, we do have a pile of heavy cav about to make it through. So let's keep an eye on that. See, these two have made it to the back. Oh, but Skelly Spam is online. So I finished casting my, my buffing spells. So this is round 3 or 4, I think. And here they come. So Skelly Spam is online. Right in time to stop these guys from rushing through. The Giants are just generally doing a fantastic job holding the line here. They're just so beefy that even these Berserkers, it takes them forever. And honestly, the Cav here, they get 2 attacks per round with like 15 attack skill, which is, okay, but they don't hit super hard. And because this is just the Lance Charge for first strike. These attacks are okay, but I have resistance, right? So I don't take that much damage each turn, and there is regeneration. So they're actually tanking amazingly. And on this side, although it looked like my Giants were losing a lot here, now they're getting reinforced by my Chaff and then the Skele Spam. So we're going to be fine over here too. Let's keep looking. I think... yeah, there's I think the last Thunderstrike. Here are a couple more attack rears that are running into my skeletons, so no problem at all. Grip of Winter is now up. Remember, Grip of Winter is fatigue, but it also just makes people cold and it freezes them into popsicles. So this guy's just frozen. So's this guy. It's just really cold, and he's frozen. And now, yeah, they're like these guys. Everybody here, yeah, is completely fatigued out. So no more spells for them. You're seeing a lot of frozen crossbowmen. They're not quite fatigued out, but yeah. Over here, there was a 1 attack rear guy that they finished killing, so now these Giants are going to go reinforce the front line over here. Here you can see that my Giant line is very thinned out. They toughed it out as long as they could, and we killed a big number of their guys, but this was a big chunk of Sacred Cavalry plus all the Berserkers. They've almost wiped out my front line of Giants, and so now all of these guys are making it around to my back line. But all this heavy cav, all this sacred cav is just running into a wall of Skele Spam. And then you see a lot of them are just frozen from Grip of Winter. And then soon the rest of them are just going to be fatigued out. Right now they're not fatigued much because they haven't really done much attacking. They were kind of stuck in the back. But they're going to spend all of their fatigue trying to kill skeletons, which is not very effective. Oh, interesting. These Giants, I guess they must have been on attack closest, and so instead of going up to the front line here, they're just going to help over there, but they'll never make it because the skeletons are in the way. This is a thug who killed all the Sacred Cav in front. He's like, all right, what's next? This guy's still in the thick of it. And there you go. Now these guys are just getting overwhelmed by the infinite Skele Spam. So again, just to reinforce, fatigue 81. We are under, I have relief going, but we are under Grip of Winter and Rigor Mortis. No problem. Infinite mana. We also have Howl going, so I do have some wolves starting to eat his mages in the back. These guys have a lot of defense, and they have, mist form or glamour and stuff like that, so wolves are not, amazing for taking them out. But, they'll start. They're getting a couple of them. One of the risks when you're doing a Rigor Mortis type of a fatigue play is that if they have guys that have... Usually this is a problem if they have really high protection, but if they have thugs or some kind of spell that makes it really hard for you to kill them, then you can end up in a situation where although you have like infinite skeletons, your skeletons can't kill them. And so it goes to basically a draw, which means everyone dies, and that's usually bad for you. Although sometimes that could be what you were going for. In this case, all they really have going for them is high defense, and once you're surrounded and getting a lot of attacks per turn, usually that's enough to kill them. It's really dangerous when you're going against high protection, or some kind of like, I don't know, blood bond, regeneration, kind of giant bless or something like that. So that's it. Now we're going through the frozen crossbowmen, who are completely fatigued out, by the way. The other nice thing about a fatigue play is that even though his guys are routed, they can't run away because they're too tired. So you actually get a complete kill. Like you actually just... he doesn't get to run away with his mages. And here we go. All the wolves, the skeletons, the last giants. And that should be the end. So this was basically a flawless victory. This is as well as I could have expected. You know, I will see the report in just a minute. I do, you know, I lost you know, a chunk of giants for sure. They valiantly sacrificed themselves to hold the line. Yeah, here... Oh, he's got a Shroud of the Battle Saint too. Yeah, so he's ethereal, so he's being a bit of a pain to kill, but eventually we get to him. And I'm pretty sure I have magic weapons. Almost done. What are we attacking here? Not clear. But you know, you can see how one nasty thug could just cause this to go on forever. Okay, that's it. Victory. So we killed everything. So we killed 5 of his Galdermen. These are pretty... these are big mages. We got all 3 of the Vulvas. These are just little astral mages. 1 of the big caps load recruit mages. 11 Vans. So actually he had a lot more. He had 12 Thunderstrikers, plus a few of these were Thunderstrikers. So he had like 15 at least Air 3 mages in that fight. All of his crossbowmen chaff. 52 of those, geez, yeah, that was a ton. 52 of these berserking dual wielders, 32 skin shifters, and a bunch of other chaff, plus 51 sacred cavalry. And we lost, so we didn't actually lose a Scratty. He shapeshifted into a werewolf, so we're fine there. We lost 3 of our just regular research mages. I'm pretty sure one of them must have been the communion slave who died. And then we lost like a little bit of chaff. We lost like a couple crossbow, and we lost 23 sacred giants. So like, not 23 giants is not nothing. It's less than half of what we brought, and it is nothing compared to what he lost. So this was a complete slaughter. So a perfectly executed plan, and we got a bloodstone, which I guess is nice. We don't really have earth mages, but I'll take it. So let's look at the map. So the bait worked. Also, I had put some PD in here, by the way. I must have shown this last turn, but I pumped PD a little bit just to get some extra muscle, some extra chaff. So let's see if there's anything else we forgot. Oh, what were the magic sites that we found here? We found... well, I don't know which ones we found, but there is a Forgotten Village, Nature, Water, Air. Oh, maybe this is what we found in Air Natures. This is a great throne, a lot of sites. And we can recruit enchantresses, which are going to give us a bit of magic diversity, because potentially we can get Earth and Air and Fire which we are severely lacking. Earth would be really nice if we could get some Earth income going. So, let's see. Research-wise, we are continuing up to Evocation 6 so we can Mind Burn. And then I'd like to get Blood 6 because I really would like to put up Illwinter before the game ends. I am... now that I've crushed Midgard, I'm not so worried about him sailing across the ocean and raiding me here. And since for now my diplomatic relations with Miklin and Pythium are fine, I'm going to bring most of this army back to a more central location. Right here it really can't do anything, it's only defensive. The Cataclysm is still in 8 months, so I have time to move back whatever I need to defend this throne at a later point. But having a chunk of this army here gives me the flexibility, if I decide to go for this throne, to actually go for it. So I'm starting to move this army back. I am here. This is just moving. This is just logistics, moving stuff around. One of these thugs is going to go take this this province back from the raid, and then over here, I'm actually leaving just a small. Like, this is not my full army. This is just a small army, not a lot of gems, just a basic. Yeah, just like a small army in case he wants to throw like a second. Like I see here, he obviously had like some backup army over here, which probably doesn't have a lot of sacreds left in it, but it's still a decent chunk. So, but I feel confident that this will be enough to take on that chunk. And then I've split the army. Oh, and I've just sent a thug here to take this back because this is worth a lot of money, and I don't feel like it would be odd for him to reinforce this with all of his army, because I don't think he can reinforce from here. This would be a weird move, so I'm just taking a thug here. And then over here, we're also just taking a thug to just clear off whatever raider was on top of this. And that is it. Do we send any Diplo? Miklin, yeah, we're talking about that we're talking about the island, and then to Man, oh, so I'm telling Man the good news that we killed a lot of Midgard's stuff, and then Man had sent a message, I don't know if you remember, a few turns ago, saying he was going to give a bounty for all of, for any van that we killed. So I basically tell him we killed everything, we kind of lost count. Actually, I thought that was pretty funny, so, we're just saying, like, I couldn't remember what the details were that in terms of how much money he offered for each kill, and so I kind of made that into, like, we just killed everything. It was really gruesome. We can't really tell what we killed. Probably a dozen commanders and, you know, more vans and stuff like that. So anyways, because I think he was going to give, like, a bounty of gold for vans that we killed, so hopefully he'll send us something. And we're also telling him, like, dude, go for it, right? Because honestly, I don't want to go and take over Midgard. Like, this isn't worth... Like, going here is inviting Miklin to come after me, right? There's no reason to overcommit here because there are no thrones on the border. Like, this throne over here is really far. Yeah, there's no reason to really push this war further. So I'm just kind of chilling here, and I'm going to try to keep these provinces. The main objective, remember, was to stop Midgard from getting the throne rush and to get this throne for ourselves. We achieved that objective, and we also are secure in the future against Midgard, because now all he can do against us is raid, and we should be able to handle that with Mind Hunt, sorry, as the game goes on. So that's it. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Take care.